Hello YouTube. Welcome to another deck measuring contest. Today I'm going to be featuring one of my Ranger decks. It is what I call the Flying Fickle Finger of Fate deck. It is my deck that I have decided to put Explodia in because I believe that Explodia lends itself well to a Ranger deck because it has that ability to, if for some reason Explodia gets squished, then you have the ability to resurrect her and try again on the next turn, or current turn, should that be necessary. But it also has the ability to recycle a bunch of monsters. It has a bunch of monster search abilities, draw abilities, stuff like that. There's a way to protect monsters a lot in a Ranger deck, so I figured that was a way to be able to keep the finger monsters alive and to keep Explodia alive, get the finger monsters out, and be able to win with Explodia more effectively than most other decks. I also have ideas to work Explodia into a Bard deck, but that's for another day. But for now, I wanted to go through a deck breakdown of my Explodia deck, and I'll start with the fingers and then show you all of the augmentations, the backup, the contingencies, and the ways that you get to the end game, which is to get Explodia out and win the game with her. So I have, to start out, two of the thumb. I have, pardon the glare from the ceiling fan here. We need to do something about that in further videos, but here, I'll do that. Hey, that's better. I have two of the index. I have two of the middle finger. I have two of the ring finger, and I only have one pinky because that's the only one that I have that's not in the book. You know me, the first one goes in the book. And then I have Explodia. So this is what the deck is built around. These 9 finger cards, and then Explodia herself. So these 10 monsters are what the deck is built around. Because Explodia, if you don't know already, has the extra power of a survivor ability. If you have 3 finger monsters face up in your stash and Explodia survives the fight, you win the game. No matter what. Like, no matter who's at what damage, no matter what else is out, you win. Boom. Game over. So that's what this is built around. So the thing is, the pinky is a 0 cost, so that's easy to get out early, but it's also 0 damage. While this is in your stash, it deals 1 damage to your opponent each time they're caught cheating. That's kind of fun if it gets off the onto the other turn. The ring finger, even though it's expensive, if you have a loot-heavy deck, which we'll get to later with the other cards, for each trinket in your hoard, reduce the gold cost of this by 1. So you can get this down to 0 if you have a number of trinkets out. So if you get a really cheap deck out, you can make a gray Explodia deck if you want to, and get a bunch of like Liar's Dice and Hot Potatoes out if you don't mind taking that damage on your cooldown, and then get some draw effects in there, and then just have a bunch of 0-star loot out on early turns. And then for the ring finger, those now cost 0. You get oh yeah, sorry, you have to have 3 different fingers out. So never mind on that part. So you get the 3 out. This costs 0, this costs 0, and then get like an index finger which costs 2. Then now you have your 3 fingers out, and you only need to have 4. So like a wizard, you get Underground Monster Fight, you get a land out, which gives you an extra gold on turn and off turn on Reckoning. You can get that out fairly early and win fairly early with Explodia if you get lucky. So if you get If you get those, you get some trinkets out, and make the ring finger cheap. You can get you get extra gold with the thumb if you give your opponent a thumbs up. Because you can also, like when you put out the thumb, you can give your opponent a thumbs up or thumbs down. With a thumbs up, you take a gold. And if you give him a thumbs down, you end the fight and stash this face up. So you can actually, like, put this out and stash it face up without a combat. So he can commit that Hydrax with 7 counters on it, and you can just go, ding, stashed. And his Hydrax is now zapped. You've stashed this face up, and you can put out whatever you want on the next combat. So there's some interesting things that you can do with the finger monsters, even in decks that don't have Explodia. But Explodia is a fun card to have out. So I'll put her over there. Now to augment that, I have a bottom feeder, which also costs 4, so they might think that it's Explodia. And so you put out the bottom feeder, which it has Recycle 2 when it comes out, which gets some cards through your hand, through your deck, to make sure that you get the fingers that you want and get Explodia into your hand early. And then the Dumpster of Doom, which I love. That is a contingency monster. That is, they know that you're trying with Explodia. You've already stashed it. You now, like, they ran away because you put all of your gold on it. You have the gold to spare now. You go ahead and put out the Dumpster of Doom. Now they take damage for all, and they've already used their runaway. Now they're taking all the damage for all the cards in their discard pile. Har, har, har. I love the Dumpster of Doom. You know that already. My Little Pony has a survivor ability of squish target monster in the defender's stash. That's good for getting rid of something in the defender's stash that might be a thorn in your side, like against other ranger decks, or like something that slipped by, or something that you threw an ally in front of to escape the damage, but you're afraid of it next turn. Decogorgon, stuff like that. There's a fair amount of them in thief decks that would be detrimental to decks like this, because the Decogorgon makes, it has a sketchy ability that makes both heroes spill 6, and that could potentially devastate any deck, really. But I got a couple of Snakes on a Plane, which it has a survivor ability that says you may squish this to draw 1 card, and also has Regenerate, which is always fun to just like regenerate it. Now it's face down. They can't target it with their stuff. You get to draw a card, again cycling cards through your deck. The Snob Bear, get rid of their loot. That's it for monsters, but that is a fair amount. It is a ranger deck, so there's going to be a fair amount of monsters in there. Land, like I said, get that gold out. Get that gold in your purse to get Explodia out as quick as possible. Try to win as early as you can with an Explodia deck. Just keep them off kilter. Branchlandia, that will keep your finger monsters alive, because that increases the life of all monsters by 1. But that means all monsters. So, locations affect both players, so it can be a double-edged sword. Walking Dreads with 2 life can be can hurt you a little. Next we get allies. I have 3 in here. I have a Branchlandian because it has a heal effect on it. Always have at least 1 heal effect or 1 avoid damage effect in any deck. I mean, that's just, you're just doing it wrong if you don't have at least 1. Have at least a couple, actually. I have a Barbarian and a Librarian, drawing cards for squishing monsters. That's a no-brainer. And then Jeff, he has a lot of life, and I like the ally. It's a promo card. So that's nice to have around. That's in there mostly for whimsy. Got some loot here. This is a weapon, a backlash. Zap, move up to 3 tokens from any number of target stash monsters to target hero, then squish this as a secondary effect. It's a 2/2 weapon for 3 stars, so it's nice to have around. But in the case that you get something else that that you like better, you can go ahead and do that and like take damage off of your monsters, move them to target hero, just do 3 damage to your opponent, then squish this. If you have something that gets loot back out of your discards, basically just go, oh, move some damage, then get it back. You know, not a problem. The magnetic helmet has 2 effects on it, and I like loot that's versatile, that has more than one effect on it. And this has zap to prevent 1 damage if you do collect 1, and then the other effect is zap squish target loot with a rank equal to or less than the number of tokens on this, then squish this. So I like that too. It has that secondary effect. The Uncertainty Boomerang, I like that, it's fun. It has a 1/2, and it's only 2 stars for 2 defense, which is nice. And then when this is committed to a fight and the monster is hired, draw 1 card. If the attacker was cheating, you spill 1 instead. So it does have that, again, uncertainty to it. But if you're playing against someone who's not known for cheating, then this can be extraordinarily powerful. The Aura of Wilderness. Normally I don't have these because I think this is too expensive for what it does, but it is automatic. It's not a zap ability. It's 4 stars, so you have to be at least level 4, and it takes up 4 levels worth of stars for an armor that only blocks 1 damage. But when a monster deals damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's automatic, and it's not a zap ability, and it's not just once a turn. So it can be powerful against like a nickel and dime deck with a bunch of walking dreads, a bunch of really cheap monsters that only do 1 damage. Somebody who's just trying to, death by 1,000 paper cuts at you. So that can be really helpful. Sometimes I just have this around as something to get rid of as a discard power, or something to draw the eye of the other person to go, oh, they have that really powerful thing, I'm going to squish it with this power that I have, and then I don't really care about it. I have, these other things that I have strategies for, and so they would think that they're really hamstringing me by getting rid of that, and they're not. So the Catapult, which I also really like because it's a 3/3, is very powerful. Also 4 stars, but for more. When this deals damage in a fight, you may discard a monster card. If you do deal 3 damage to target monster, this is an interrupt. So you could do potentially 6 damage to a monster if necessary. Or it doesn't say it has to be the same monster, so if it's doing damage in combat, you can do 3 damage to the monster in the combat, and then 3 damage to a stashed monster. As an interrupt, so it can even get past monster effects and stuff. And then we get into some other fun loot. The Crown of Crazy, which I adore because it augments the hero powers. And instead of moving that to when your monster is squished and you zap your hero, instead of moving it to the stash as a regular regenerate, you move it to your hand instead. It's very powerful. I love doing that. The biodegradable armor. It's like the flaming armor from the gray cards, but it's just 1 time. That's why it's only 1 star. Prevent 3 damage, then squish this. Very helpful if they throw a bunch of bleed effects on you and you're just trying to run towards the end game. You might have seen me do that in one of the episodes where I beat Tank with that particular salvo. The Bullwhip, which is a 2/2, but it also has Monstrous 2. Very versatile, very helpful. I have used it to my advantage many times. Then we get into mischiefs. Tracking. I know I have a couple of those. There it is. Tracking lets you go through your deck, get a monster, put it in your hand. Very simple, very effective. But I'm going to go get Explodia. I'm going to go get the Explodia's middle finger. Boom. Shiny. Unzap your hero card. Helpful if they've already tried to kill one of your finger monsters this turn and you're trying to get Explodia out. And then it also has the recycle one, which I did get clarified on the forums that you don't have to have your hero card zapped in order to recycle if you just want to recycle. And then the utility cards for any ranger deck, in my opinion, Compost and Doge. Prevent all damage dealt by hired monster for this fight. Yes, and squish target loot. Very simple, very effective. These 6 cards are the first ones I put out in any ranger deck that I have. So that's my breakdown for my Flying Fickle Finger of Fate deck. I hope you like it. Tell me if you like it, if you have any suggestions. If you think it's good, if you think it's bad, if you think it's indifferent, if you think you can beat it, if you think it would beat you, what you think could beat it hero-wise. Anything else? Just be sure to like, share, favorite, subscribe, pay it forward, send us money, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next time.